Hello, everybody. So, I'm Tetra, and this is my dad, Taylor.
In this video, we are going to review the Mandolorian and Grogu movie.
Yeah.
Before we go into anything else, Tetra, do you think people should see this movie?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you should watch it.
Okay, so Rotten Tomato score on the critic side, be damned. Go see this movie. It's a lot of fun. It was, especially if you have a kiddo and you're this millennial parent, you're a Gen Alpha kiddo. This is for you.
This is not a spoiler-free review.
So, word of warning, if you have not seen the movie yet, we're going to be talking about specific things that have happened at the movie. You're going to want to see the movie before you watch this review, unless you don't care. It's also fine not to care. Do you think people can listen to we'll be able to watch our review and still enjoy the movie?
Yes.
So, Tetra, what was your favorite part of this movie?
So the little guys, they're called the Anzillians,
The Anzillian droid smiths.
Yeah. Their name is Minch, Keto, Bai, and Klain. They were pretty cute. I really liked how they drove the car with Grogu. They're super funny. And I really like how they say, "Bad baby, bad baby." It's really funny. So I just really like the little Anzillians. They're very cute.
Okay, so what I think is really impressive about these guys is at least most of the movie, they are not CGI effects at all. They real physical little puppets, just like Baby Yoda, which is kind of a hallmark for the series, because nowadays almost everything is done with CG, and we are moving into an age where we're just about to start replacing CG characters with AI slop characters, and these guys are the opposite of that. Somebody actually sat down and made them with their hands. Same thing goes for Baby Yoda. And you want to know what today I learned?
What did you learn?
That might not have actually been today. It might have been something I learned a long time ago. But one of my personal heroes, Werner Herzog, director of many auteur films and documentaries, was the one who urged Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to make sure that Grogu stayed as a real-world physical puppet. You know, a real-world physical guy that you can come and pick up. And that's what he's always been in the show, which is one of the things she's been making it really good. This movie, they really doubled down on that.
I also like that Grogu and the little droid smiths saved the day often. I really like how they saved the Mandalorian a lot.
This is Grogu.
Mandalorian. Grogu, so while the twins and Rada the Hutt was fighting, I think Rada hit the floor too hard, so they went down into the drain. So Grogu used his force powers to lift him up.
Grogu did save the day a lot. By himself. He's just a little guy, but he saved the day a lot. And that is so once again, that was Rada, I guess, killed the Hutt twins. What I thought was confusing about the Hutt twins, and this is something I believe they were in the series before or in the Book of Boba Fett, and I always thought they were Siamese twins, and that they were actually connected. But this movie, it looks like they just slop onto each other all the time, kinda.
Yeah.
Was that your impression? Because I thought they were connected, at the tail. Did you think that before? I thought that looking at the trailers. I thought that when they've been in the show, or been in, I guess, the Book of Boba Fett, as much as anybody watched that show. What I thought was really interesting about this movie was the droids, though. If you look at a lot of the droids that did work in the service of these Hutt twins, you're going to see droids that come throughout the entire Star Wars series. If you look at the droids that did battle on the during the Battle of Naboo and in the Phantom Menace, you see the droids with those heads in this movie, but like their bodies have been like repaired over the course of time and repurposed to, I think, have their own power source, because in that movie they didn't have their own power source. They just turned them off remotely somehow. I don't know. I had been under the impression that they all had like a central computer, like AI sort of situation. They all, I guess not. I also liked when they had to fight when the Mandalorian fought the heavy droids. Actually, Mandalorian and Grogu fought the heavy droids, right? Grogu went inside. Grogu actually went inside the droid and started pulling up wires. That was really cool.
They pulled. He went inside, like slurped inside, then like pulled all the wires, and then like powered off.
Well, I think he was having errors. He kept going.
Yeah.
He kept going. He even like came back later on, even after he'd had his wires pulled apart and internally. But the cool part about this scene is that it was a composite of stop motion and live action footage, as opposed to the combination of stop motion and or not stop motion, live action and computer generated imagery. So that was awesome. It was a very creative fight, and somehow like the jerky movements of these droids actually gave them more weight on the screen, and like trying to convey weight in stop motion photography is difficult. Anyway, so that part was really, really cool. You know, like I think like we said in our last video, this movie was originally going to be season 4 of the Mandalorian series. Do you think this should have been a TV series?
I disagree and agree. I feel like you could see more, but like it would go slow for the TV series, but for the movie you could just see the whole thing. So I disagree to agree.
I don't know what you mean by disagree to agree in that case. That's okay.
I think both.
Okay, no, I mean, like, I think altogether, probably this does avoid the bloat that the Star Wars series have, in fact, Star Wars and Marvel shows have kind of exhibited over time, where it feels like we get our few good minutes of moving the plot forward drama and our few good minutes of action in every episode. On the other hand, we don't really get to see. On the other hand, there's a lot of filler. Like, you know, this is a problem that we've had going back to Dragon Ball Z. So anyway, yeah, as a movie, it's not boring. It moves fast from one point to the next. I have seen people saying that this is a boring movie, and I'm like, oh my god, there has been much more boring Star Wars movies than this.
I'm just sitting around.
Look at the Phantom Menace. I know I've already brought up the Phantom Menace once, but let's just bring that horse out and beat it here on this table, huh? Yeah. Okay. What are we doing here next? Okay, so what parts of this movie didn't you like, Tetra?
So I didn't like where the Mandalorian was fighting with all the people in the bar. I don't know, that kind of made me like annoyed. I don't know why. So like someone, like one of the birds could get hurt. I was only looking at the birds at the bar, and I'm like,
okay, because there was the animals in there. That's what it was. Okay. So I wondered why that was more affectatious to you than the rest of the action scenes. I remember that, and I wondered. Okay, now I get it. And so, yeah, but one of the things that bothered me actually happened really early in the movie. So there's a lot of grenades, and they were right next to the open door that the bad guy had just flown out through. And you know what could Grogu have done with these grenades that were just sitting there? He
could have used his force to just sweep them out.
Could have used the force and they would have all just exploded out there, and it would have been, yeah, once again, Grogu saving the day. So I don't know how that didn't happen. That's all a whatever kind of quibble. What would you rate this movie out of 10, Tetra?
I'll give it a solid 9.5.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. It's mind-blowing how they don't use like Photoshop
Well, I'm
and
sure they
like
use a lot of
AI.
Photoshop. Yeah.
Just like a little Photoshop.
They have to use a lot of Photoshop. But that's, like nudging things with Photoshop is not the same as full-on AI or computer-generated images.
They also have very good puppeteers. There's a lot of puppets.
The puppets. That's the word I've been looking for this entire show. Puppets. Grogu's a puppet, and the droid Smiths are all puppets. I love it. Yeah. Okay. I personally would give this movie, I guess, 8 out of 10. I'm harsh on it, I guess. There's a couple things that were, like I say, it's like, well, I gotta take. The acting was better than most Star Wars movies. I gotta say, like, way better. It's better. Like, say, it wasn't like a slow-moving show, so that was nice. And yeah, let's see. Now, there has been a lot of negative reviews. However, the audience score for this movie, last I checked, was like 88%, which is closer to our level of review than the professional movie reviewer. What gets me about this is that the professional movie reviewers for the original Star Wars trilogy, that is A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, all give these movies into the 90s. Have you watched these movies? Have you watched A New Hope anytime recently? It would have been the original Star Wars. The acting is bad. They're like, as far, like, say, they've had to reach around backwards and make entire series to fill in the plot holes created by this. Then when you look at the sequel trilogy, they are revisionally beloved. But yeah, the Phantom Menace was just bad, and it set the bar really low for those movies. And then when we finally got the new series, those were also widely review bombed, especially the very last of them and the very second to last of them. And I can see why, but it's still stuff that we've come to expect out of Star Wars. I'm sorry. Hot take. Yeah, well, when you think of Star Wars, Tetra, what do you think about?
First thing that comes up to my mind, Mandolorian and Grogu.
Exactly. Star Wars, to Generation Alpha here, is the Mandalorian and Grogu. We have to consider that going forward. Like, things that, like, this is George Lucas wanted to create, like, ongoing mythology in creating Star Wars. It's a world that's, like, existing alongside of our own in its own plot holey, riddled with bad acting and history way. But it moves and evolves for the time. This isn't the story of Luke Skywalker anymore. Do you remember Luke Skywalker?
Yes.
Yeah, he was Grogu's trainer, but he was also the main character of the original Star Wars trilogy. We have to consider what people are expecting now. This is what people want. These are the characters that people care about in Star Wars now, this day and age. And in my opinion, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have been doing it right. In closing about this movie, what do we have to say, Tetra?
Whether you like this this or not, this is the future of Star Wars.
And we are out. Come back for our next video. I don't even know what it's going to be about. Like specs or something? I don't know.
Bye.